Hello, I'm Tony Craig. This is F1 Grandstand, and of course, you have tuned in for the Chinese Grand Prix qualifying. Thank you to everyone who joined me for the sprint race at, well, we started streaming at 2:30 a.m. here in the UK, and wow, what a race. Actually, we saw some great overtaking. We saw Lewis Hamilton fighting it out with George Russell in the Mercedes for the first 7 or 8 laps. It was exciting stuff. In the end, we saw George Russell take first place. Second place went to Leclerc, and third place for Hamilton. That's 2 Ferraris on the podium. Exciting. I know a lot of people still have problems with the super clipping. Me too, but the spectacle from the viewer's point of view, that made that, honestly, if you've seen that sprint race, it was my favourite sprint race I think I've ever seen. Sprint races have always been so meh, boring. Whoever qualifies first tends to finish first, and it was just a train of cars going around for 19, 20 laps. That was not the case in the sprint race this morning. It was actually really fun and really interesting to watch. The racing was good. So yeah, brings us into a very positive qualifying session. That Ferrari gets off the line so goddamn well. So qualifying is going to be important. So if we see the Ferraris qualify, you know, on the first 2 or 3 rows, the way they get off the line, they can quite easily end up in P1 by the end of the first lap. We've seen it every time. I'm going to say hello to the chat. Hey, Gemma, queen of the chat. Kyle. Oh, Kyle, what's going on, Kyle? Oh, your wife's in hospital with pneumonia. Sorry to hear that, Kyle. I hope she gets better quickly. She'll be missing all the F1 grandstands. You better get her an iPad so she can watch it. No, truthfully, joking aside, honestly, I hope she's feeling a lot better, Kyle. Manjir, hello. Welcome to the chat, buddy. I see you in there. And of course, so yes, Kyle, obviously, congratulations again on your granddaughter. Oh, Manchester, exactly. Let's get F1 Grandstand to 50k this season. Let's see. If you keep watching, keep sharing, keep liking the videos, maybe we'll get there. But today it is about qualifying. This morning, I've done an all-nighter. I'm sure you're very concerned. I will be going to bed after this, though, I tell you that. But yeah, back for qualifying. What do we expect? Well, we expect to see Mercedes up there on power. The Red Bull drama continued. Max Verstappen having a horrible race. Hadjar having a terrible race. Hadjar connected with Lindblad first lap, which did mean that ultimately Lindblad was out of the sprint race. Hadjar so far behind. Yeah, I see your message, Shaitan. Yeah, Hulkenberg in the Audi didn't have a lot of luck. Didn't finish in the points. Bortoletto as well, not great. So yeah, it was a very fun race to watch, though. Entertaining. We saw Hamilton showing us some racecraft, and we haven't seen that for a long time. And actually, the racing, some of the finest racing in the sprint race was between the 2 Ferraris, Leclerc and Hamilton, wheel to wheel. It was both drivers showed absolutely brilliant skill to race that hard, to not touch. It was fascinating. It was a really interesting sprint race, the best I've seen. But let me know in the chat what you think. But yeah, Shaitan, Audi's still doing better than expected. Have you seen the front of their paddock? It looks awesome. All the silver, the Audi sign, it's vast. I saw Ted Kravitz on his notebook on Sky Sports F1 doing his notebook, doing his little paddock walk. And honestly, that Audi garage looks incredible. Yes, bruv. I just want to see Hamilton on his 8th. Yeah, bruv. I get it. I think this is a good chance for him. He's honestly his racing. He showed. He's still got it. His sharpness. The fact that the way he raced, the faster, more powerful Mercedes was fantastic. He showed his racecraft. He shows he's still not forgotten how to do it. Yeah, Shaitan, Perez's Cadillac. Some of Cadillac's parts of Perez's car did fall off. It's to be expected. Don't worry. Cadillac will improve. And they will improve quickly. But yeah, some parts falling off that Cadillac of Perez's car. Bottas unfortunately did not finish the race. But yeah, we do have all the data. The reason why we've not got our full data screen up at the moment is purely because we don't get the data for another 10 minutes. And I don't think you'd want to see just that screen. I don't think you really wanted to see just a blank screen while we are waiting for data. But it's coming. It won't be long. Ah, that's not right. So yeah, if you are brand new, just before we start getting all the data on the screen, have a look at that graphic. Do what it says. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Like the video if you haven't done that yet. Do smash a like. We've got other things. You've got hit the notification bell. That way you keep up to date with all of the content. And don't forget, if you feel like it, you can always hype stuff. It's a fairly new thing on YouTube, but if you hype stuff, apparently that helps the reach of the videos. So there's a little hype button. Feel free to do that as well if you like. Giuseppe, hey gang, cracked open the Japanese whiskey. Hibiki, is this how I pronounce it, Giuseppe? Hibiki. Is it Hibiki? Hibiki. Is that how it's pronounced? I don't know. Well, great. Good for you. What time is it there, Giuseppe? It's 6:35 a.m. George Russell's on my telly. Just a big, smiley Woody from Toy Story face that he's got on him. He's very pleased about his win in the sprint. Yes, Giuseppe, gloves are off in the Ferrari paddock. Yeah, let's go. Great racing, wasn't it, Giuseppe? Oh, 11:35 p.m. Perfect time for a Hibiki. Right? Have one for me. But yeah, I think the racing between the Ferrari drivers was fantastic. They didn't touch, kept it clean, super aggressive. Hamilton and Leclerc really showing their class as top drivers. The way they handled it, it was really good fun. Yes, cheers to you, Giuseppe. Enjoy your Hibiki. Shaitan, I'm glad Aston Martin are able to get the flag somehow, but funnily enough, Lance did. He pitted for fresh mediums, and in the end, still can't beat Alonso, who didn't pit and stayed on the hards that he started with. Those hards actually look the best tyre. Those mediums, everyone was suffering from graining in a pretty mad way. The hards look pretty good, actually. And the problem is with the guys that use the hards in the sprint race, it means they're a set of tyres down, doesn't it, for the main race? Monster Racing Bear, hello, 7:36 p.m. Saturday. Ah, brilliant. You want to be having a nice beer. Have a nice beer. Yeah, Red Bull, Kyle says RB, as I said, has some problems to figure out. Well, Red Bull was chewing up tyres, according to Max Verstappen. And Hadjar said the same thing. They're suffering from serious graining. Just happy that Sainz finished P12. Well, I think the Williams team are just in a very, very poor place at the moment. I really like Carlos Sainz as a driver. I think he deserves to be in a top team. I think Williams will struggle to keep him if they don't turn things around in a timely manner. And McLaren have said, I said it in the show last night, on the news show, the 7:30 news show, that the problem Williams have got, compared to say McLaren, Williams are sort of happy to wait. You know, they're happy to play the longer game, the medium-term game, to get that team to be anywhere near competitive in the midfield. Where McLaren have said, no, we're not waiting for Mercedes' help on these power units. We want the data now. We're not going to wait. You know, we're not happy running as the third fastest team. We need to be competing at the front. So I think McLaren have got a different approach to that Mercedes relationship to Williams. Shaitan says, if only Aston Martin have a competitive car, we know what Alonso can do with a better tyre, even when he's under threat. That's true. Maybe the car's losing a bit of weight. She said, well, if you think about it, I was thinking about this. So the Williams is about 20 to 25 kilograms overweight. And I was thinking, and just to quantify that, you know when you go on holiday and you take your suitcase with you, that full suitcase is normally about 22 kilograms, isn't it? So if you imagine when you pick up that big, you know, your sort of medium to large size suitcase, when you go on holiday, like 22 grams, which is 22 kilograms, which is normally what the airlines allow you to have. That's how much weight they need to lose. And you know, when you're overweight in the in the airport, and they said supermarket then, when you're overweight in the airport, you have that embarrassing time going, well, maybe I can I'll take my flip-flops out, they can go in my hand luggage. Maybe I don't need this, that can go in the bin. Maybe I'll throw these away just to get your suitcase down to weight. That's literally what Williams need to do. They need to be emptying that suitcase as quick as possible. But yeah, every gram matters. Hey David, it's 2:30 a.m. I'm barely awake and concerned for Red Bull's performance. Well, yeah, chewing up tyres, power unit, not great, battery. Look at Max Verstappen's start. They are having problems getting charge into that battery on the formation lap to actually do a good start. Not good. Carl says, I don't think Sainz has a better ride available. With Behrman, Hadjar, Lindblad all up and coming, top seats are going to be harder to get. Well, they are, but I think Sainz is a number one driver. I think it depends. This driver market at the end of this year is going to be crazy and competitive. I don't know where he goes, though. It's a good point. I think if Fernando leaves Aston Martin, Carlos Sainz, but Aston Martin are no better than Williams right now. They're worse. That's the problem. Aston Martin are just nowhere near. So yeah, there's a lot going on. Don't worry, we will have all the data for you. It's just I don't get the data for another 5 or 8 minutes, and then we'll switch. We will switch. Oh my gosh, you can tell I've been up all night. Switch screens, little tongue teaser, to all the data you know and love. Oh, Gisette, that's a good question. Would he go to the team Christian will end up with? Well, Christian is a fan of Carlos Sainz. He nearly brought Carlos Sainz to Red Bull when he promoted Liam Lawson to the Red Bull seat. There were conversations with Carlos Sainz about taking that second Red Bull seat. He wanted it. But Carlos Sainz, in the end, was not picked by Horner, but Horner does rate him. But he was encouraged, as always, by the Dart Lord, Helmut Marko, who is really pulling the strings when it comes to driver lineup over at Red Bull and Racing Bulls for all that time, that it was all about promoting from within. Horner wanted a better driver. He wanted a better driver in that second seat. It wasn't allowed by the board. So Carlos Sainz ended up at Williams. But going back to your question, yes, Horner is definitely a Carlos Sainz fan. So yeah, you could see those two working together. Depends what team. I mean, you could see them both working together at Williams, the way things are turning out. I mean, if I was on the board of directors at Williams, I would be seriously thinking about taking Horner, speaking to Horner about his big bag of cash and all of his investors, bringing into the team and trying to turn Williams, a heritage Formula One team, back to its former glory. You know, Williams were as big a name almost as Ferrari back in the 90s, winning world championships, attracting drivers like Ayrton Senna, Alain Prost, Nigel Mansell. You know, good drivers, Nelson Piquet. You know, they had some of the best drivers. And Williams really, and the thing about being a heritage team, it means that they can't change the name. That's what a heritage team in Formula One means. It means that you cannot ever change the name of the team, whoever comes in. But why? But you know, Horner as a Brit taking a British iconic team back to former glory. What a great story that is for Drive to Survive. He's a Brit. It's a Brit. Williams is as British as it comes. Frank Williams was, you know, a legend, a winner, ruthless. Like Frank Williams, like really ruthless, ran that team incredibly well, and they were a garage Easter team. They were not a works team. So yeah, I think that's the story. I think that will gather momentum. And if I'm Horner, if I could take over a team, I mean, Williams would be a good team to take over. And you wouldn't even necessarily need to get rid of James Vowles either. You're moving back into what he's good at. He's a technical director. That's what he's good at. Well, you'd say that until we saw the shit show that is his 26 car. But then you got Craig Skinner available. You know, the guy that worked with Horner over at Red Bull, who's now left Red Bull, who was designer, protege of Adrian Newey. Craig Skinner's available. So, yeah, Horner, Skinner over at Williams. All that money behind them. The Mercedes power unit. Williams Heritage Team back to the top. It's a great story. Thane says, I highly doubt the driver market will be crazy. All the top teams will most likely keep their lineups, including Red Bull Racing. Where will Sainz go? To another midfield team. He chose poorly. Tough luck. Actually, Thane, I don't think it's nailed on that Max stays at Red Bull. And I don't think it's nailed on. I know Aston Martin aren't a top team, but if they do become a top team by the end of the season, which is right now seems hard to believe, but it is possible. You know, you could see a seat at Red Bull, you could see a seat in Aston Martin, you could see, I mean, depends what happens at Ferrari. Could you see a seat at Ferrari? It's an outside chance, possible. Thane says Toto will never let go of Kimi. Nah, he won't. Unless Max comes to Mercedes and then Kimi ends up at Alpine. And then Mercedes sort of help Alpine a little bit more because they buy those 24% shares. I'm not from Gateshead. No, from Manchester. Well, from Cheshire, actually. Just South Manchester. South Manchester, buddy. The Thane says Max isn't leaving. If he does leave, he'll leave F1 altogether. Well, that will open up a seat if he does. I mean, I know all these rumours of Max about leaving F1. I mean, he seems very pissed off today. But will he leave F1? I mean, will Max leave F1? He says he can. Right, I'm going to switch screens. We're going to the data. There we go. Back onto our traditional watch along screen for qualifying. Will he leave F1? He threatens it. I think he's the sort of driver that might. Max is the sort of guy that might say, I'm leaving F1, leave F1 for a year, and then come back. A great big offer lands on his desk. That's interesting. Shaitan says, I feel there's more chance of Toto sticking with Antonelli than Russell. Yeah, I have felt that myself sometimes. But you don't get rid of your world... If Russell wins the World Driver Championship, which, let's be honest, he's favourite right now, you don't get rid of your championship winning driver. It's not done, really, is it? You renew the contract. If your driver wins the World Driver Championship, you don't really let him go. And George Russell is showing a real, he is the complete driver now. He's become the complete driver. He's patient, he's composed, he's a little bit annoying in his interviews, I think we can all agree. He's a little bit prefecty, but overall, is he a good racer? Yes. Does he extract the maximum out of the car? Yes. Is he kind on the tyres? Yes. Does he give good feedback to the team? Yes. He really is becoming a complete driver. Whether you like him personally or not, he is one of the most complete drivers on the grid. Gemma saying that Toto Wolff and Kimi Antonelli have got a real father-son type bond. It feels like that. I'd say more uncle-nephew, Gemma. More of a cool uncle-nephew vibe. Where you've gone to live with your cool uncle because your parents, have said, oh, we can't handle you. Go and live with your uncle. And then, he's got that sort of vibe. And, Cedric, Antonelli doesn't cost a lot. I don't think Mercedes care about the cost. Mercedes have got deep pockets. I think the reason why Kimi Antonelli isn't getting paid silly wages is because it's about managing. He's 18, and I do believe they could afford to give him 30 million a year and not even. Mercedes wouldn't even touch the sides. They wouldn't even care, but they don't, because I believe that Toto Wolff is managing Kimi Antonelli for his own good, bringing him on, making him work for it, making him earn it, bringing him up to receive, to his full potential. But it's not because Mercedes care about the money. They don't. And you got to remember, the driver wages do not fall inside of the cost cap. So any team with deep pockets can pay the drivers anything they want, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't come out of the cost cap for the team. You could pay a driver 500 million a year if you can afford it, and it doesn't matter when it comes to cost cap. I mean, I think Kimi's only on a couple of million a year with bonuses. Gisette says, favoured, but see how flustered Russell got at the beginning of the sprint. He admitted that he was surprised by Lewis. Kimi is a hungry rookie who is super fast and talented. Russell is a bit too posh. Good point, Gisette. And the thing, you're all right about that. Like, Kimi is hungry, and the ceiling of Kimi is super high. Like, you know what I mean? He's going to improve immeasurably over the next couple of years. Whereas, like I say, George Russell, I feel he's fit. He's become the complete driver. I feel like what you see now is what you get. He is a top 3 driver. That's probably his ceiling. And Gisette says, for a billionaire, it's pocket change, Gemma. It's true. Like, what Kimi gets paid, it's nothing. And honestly, Mercedes could pay Kimi 30, 40 million a year. And Mercedes wouldn't, it doesn't matter to Mercedes. If Max Verstappen went to Mercedes, what do you think they're going to pay him? They're going to pay him in the region of 100 million a year. George Russell's probably on about 30 million a year. They were paying Lewis Hamilton good money. Lewis Hamilton was on, I think, 50 mil a year. Yeah, Cedric, 100 mil. Yeah, they'd give Max Verstappen 100 mil. If anybody wants to sign Max Verstappen, it's 100 mil a year. Easy. Definitely 100 mil. Alonso was 20 mil a year. Alonso's earning about, I think Alonso's earning about that now. Amon says Woody gets paid in toys too. But he's still like the top 6 most paid drivers on the current grid. You talk about George Russell. Yeah. George Russell's on about 25, 30 mil a year, which is on par, by the way, with Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc. See, Charles Leclerc's on about 20 to 25 mil a year, but he got a super long contract. Lando Norris on about 25 mil a year, 30 mil a year. Oscar Piastri's on about 25 mil a year. And then above that, you've got, I think Alonso's on about 18 mil a year. There will be some bonuses in there as well. And then above that, you've got the Verstappens, the Hamiltons. Hamilton's on, Hamilton's on 70 million a year at Ferrari. Verstappen is on about the same, maybe a bit more, a touch more, maybe. So Thane says the only drivers I can see leaving are Ocon and Alonso. Colapinto? Do you think Colapinto keeps his drive? Alpine. If Mercedes get those shares from Otro Capital and get that 24% stake in Alpine, Colapinto's future's done. Colapinto will be out, and I think one of the Mercedes Academy drivers will be in. Gisette says, remember that Mercedes, even though Lewis helped build their stock brand, didn't want him to be an ambassador. They wanted a young star racer, Kimi. Well, actually, they did offer Hamilton an ambassador role, but it was dead short. It was a very short, term ambassador role. Hamilton wanted, I want to be a lifetime ambassador for Mercedes. And they were like, we can't do that. It'll be like a couple of years or something. Whereas at Ferrari, he's got a 10-year ambassador role. That's crazy, isn't it? Lewis Hamilton, when he leaves, I believe it's 10 years he's got as an ambassador at Ferrari. 10 years. And Mercedes, he won all the world championships with, wouldn't give him that. Thane says Colapinto has a 5-year deal with Alpine and brings a lot of sponsors and basically pays for himself and then some. Yeah, Colapinto, but all those rookies do. They all bring, a lot of those rookies have to pay, they're basically paying for their drive. Colapinto does bring a ton of sponsors. But if he's, look at how far behind Gasly he's been so far. Let's see in qualifying today in the next session, because if Gasly keeps taking Colapinto to school, which he is doing, even Flavio Briatore is not going to put up with it, no matter how much money he brings in. You need both your drivers to be scoring points, and if Gasly scores points and Colapinto doesn't, it's not good. Gisette, also sports betting is a big part of F1 too. Do you know what? That's the type of sponsor we need on F1 Grandstand. We need a sports betting sponsor. They've got all the money. They've got all of the money. That'll help us grow the channel. Not that we encourage irresponsible gambling, but you know, responsible gambling is fine. I don't mind a little gamble myself. That's the truth. I don't mind a little bet myself. So Shaitan says, well, Alonso is more on his own current circumstances, so we'll have to see how it goes. Ocon and Colapinto may be more on team's decision. Yeah, I mean, Ocon, I think Ocon's drive is at risk. Ollie Behrman keeps taking him to school, keeps beating him convincingly and getting the points. Ollie Behrman scored a point in the sprint race. Again, great performance from Behrman. That's all you can expect from these midfield teams. Keep scoring points. Behrman's doing that. Thane says, no, you're already too much of a bro. Last thing we need is you promoting gambling. Well, yeah. Responsible gambling, Thane. I'm not promoting gambling. I'm just saying responsible gambling. Shaitan says, now Behrman has been beating Ocon since summer break of last year. Exactly. It's been the second half of 25 and it's flowing straight through into 26. Oliver Behrman. So if Ocon goes, who takes that Haas seat? Do you give it to Doohan? Do you give Doohan another chance? He is the reserve driver at Haas. Does he get another shot in Formula One? I feel that he was. I feel like he got a really quite a tough raw deal. He only got 6 races in the Alpine, and then Colapinto was no better. The Alpine car was terrible, and Jack Doohan, he got a lot of abuse from the fans. I feel like Doohan does deserve another opportunity. But then again, who's going to come through F2 this year? Gisette says Kimmy's super cute and very lovable. Just think about all the merch he'll move. Russell's a bit cold, too proper. I agree with that. Gisette also says, I'd like to see how much dollar was made after Abu Dhabi 21. Oh, don't. Yeah, that storyline, 2021. That storyline, 2021. That brought an awful lot of eyeballs, didn't it? The injustice of it. It brought a lot of eyeballs to the sport. Drama does that. You know, because it's when things like that happen, it's when the stories go from the back pages, the sports pages, to the front pages of general news, because it was outrageous, wasn't it? And as soon as a sports story ends up on the front pages and not the back pages, then we see a huge bump, I think. Most of Ocon's points with Haas last year were mainly due to great strategy calls from Haas. Ocon has been getting spanked in quali by Behrman. Yeah, he has. Yeah, he has. all the cars lined up in the pit lane coming out for Q1. I'm excited for this, you know. I mean, I'm expecting Mercedes to take the front row. I'm expecting Ferrari to take the second row. After that, I think you're looking at McLaren. They do sort of sit between Mercedes, Ferrari, and then McLaren and Red Bull, and then the rest. And I think you might see Behrman up there. I mean, going into Q3, I'd like to see Behrman in Q3. I'd like to see Gasly in Q3. I'd like to see an Audi in Q3 as well. I'd like to see Hulk putting in a shift. I'd like to see the Hulk in Q3. But the good thing about this is that what I like about having all this data on the screen now is we get to see a lot of data on the gears and the RPM. So we can compare which cars are hitting that 12,500 RPM. Valtteri Bottas forcing his way out in the Cadillac. So Bottas got out first. All the cars queuing to get out. Q1, 17 and a half minutes of Q1. Yes, Selvin, I see you in there. Selvin says, this is entertainment, not sport. Thank the Yanks via Liberty Media. Well, I think, look, I think it's definitely a different type of racing. But as a spectacle, I'm always going to be honest. I thought I was an F1 purist. I thought, God, I wanted balls to the wall racing at all times. I don't like the super clipping. Obviously, it's freaking annoying. And I don't think we should have that in Formula One. But I have to be honest. Look, let's just look at the sprint race. It was the most exciting sprint race I've ever watched. Those first 7 laps with Hamilton and Mercedes of George Russell fighting out was entertaining to watch. I'm not going to say it isn't just because I don't want batteries in Formula One. I don't want battery management. But I have to be honest. The racing was exciting. Can they do both? That's the question. I want the exciting racing without the super clipping. If we get to that point, I think, I think it's going to be a good series. That's where I'm at. And I'm somebody who doesn't want batteries in Formula One. But I'm always going to tell my truth anyway. I know everyone's entitled to their opinion. But the racing was, and also when we look at the start of the Melbourne Grand Prix, Charles Leclerc fighting with George Russell, it was exciting. The game cat, yeah, this is better racing than we've had for years, despite the electric nonsense. And that's the problem, because I know I sound like a hypocrite. I know I do. I know. I hear the words coming out of my mouth. I don't want the electrification of Formula One. I agree with what Max Verstappen says. Yet, when I sit here, just as a viewer and a fan watching the racing, I've been at the edge of my seat and I've been super excited. If you've been watching the watch-alongs, you can tell. Very excited about what's going on. And when I've been doing any sort of commentary, I'm genuinely excited about what I'm watching. So that's my truth on it. So if they can do both, keep the racing element, get rid of the super clipping, I'm here for it. Yeah, Kareen says, yeah, I'm with you, TC. It's a bit riveting. It's if you've sat through as many sprint races, I'm sure we all have, where we're just literally watching a 20-lap parade of cars. Zero overtaking. Unless there's an incident at lap 1, turn 1, nothing happens. Yeah, Cedric, that would be that's my favourite. No battery and V10. Naturally aspirated V10, like the sound of that engine. I'd love that, of course. Yeah, and that's the thing, Manchester. It's become more of a game of chess. There is more the thinking. the thinking and the strategy that's come into this sport. The question is, should it be like that? Like, I know it is like that right now, and I know then the effect it's had on the racing has been quite interesting actually, and some of it's been brilliant. But do I want Formula One to be that? Not really. So I know I'm a hypocrite. Yeah, so Gisette says maybe after this era they'll find a better balance. It is 26, and look at all the people who do sim racing and now are into F1. You must evolve, holding on to what is authentic and moving forward. Yeah, and also it's so early. Let's see what they do with these regulations this year, even in the next few races. Let's see how it develops. And that monster racing, we just need a battery that doesn't run out halfway down the straight. So just a pure hybrid system, which doesn't have battery management involved. Like, you know, Lamborghini Revueltos, Ferrari 296s. You know, you can have a hybrid system that just adds to the performance of the car. Stroll slower than Cadillac. No, Stroll's just gone P8. He won't be there for long. Oh yeah, but he is behind Bottas. Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, none of those are going to stay there. Gasly P2. So let me take you around the screen if you just joined us here at F1 Grandstand for this watch long. So we've got the track below me. You can see all the cars out on track, their position on track as they make their way around. Then you've got all the data to the right of your screen. You can see all the drivers. You can see what tyre they're on. You can see how many laps they've completed on those tyres. You can also see their last lap, their best lap. You can see the gap between them and first place. Then we have all of the sectors 1, 2, and 3. Underneath each sector, you've got those mini sectors. Those colours are important. Where you see the green colour, that means that driver has done his personal best on that mini sector. Where you see the purple colour, it means that driver has gone fastest of all in those mini sectors. Where you see the yellow colour, it means there is no improvement from their previous laps. Then we've got the gear data where you can see what gear each car is in at any given moment. The RPM, what the RPM of the engines, and the speed of the cars, what they're traveling right now. So we give you all the data. We give you all of the data in real time, absolutely live. So right now, Piastri, fastest, 11 and a half minutes to go in Q1. Hulkenberg up there, P2. Like, I'm not expecting it to stay like this. We're still expecting improvements from Hamilton, Leclerc. Hamilton out on the medium. Leclerc out on the soft. Hamilton having a little rally slide there. Legend, who cares if it's electric? I haven't enjoyed F1 race this much in ages. Pure adrenaline. See, that's the thing, Legend. That's what I'm trying to say. I have to be honest. The racing has had me at the edge of my seat. It's true. I've never enjoyed a sprint race as much as I enjoyed this sprint race. Yeah, Hamilton in the pits. Absolutely, he came out on an outlap, did a lap, and then he had a tiny little power slide. Maybe he's flat spotted. Hamilton's just been on the radio, said it feels good. The car's just had some snaps under braking. Yes, Dev, I see you, buddy. See you in there. Welcome back for more action. Oh, so Nelson says, what was the fastest lap this morning? Anyone remember? Do you know what? I don't. Hopefully someone in the chat can answer that for you, because I can't remember, Nelson. I don't know what the fastest lap time was, actually. Anyone in the chat? Answer that question for us, because I'd like to know as well. I can't remember what the fastest lap was this morning. The Game Cat, do we think the better racing is a result of the new aero or battery management? The better racing's come from the fact that battery management artificially slows the cars down. So it creates more of an opportunity to overtake. I think that's That's definitely what's meant that has caused the overtakes. People deplete their battery power, and so the guy behind's got his batteries able to overtake, and that's why there has been better overtaking and better racing. But it's not. But I agree, it's not pure racing. Some people call it artificial, but did it make it any less exciting for me? No, it didn't. It did not make it less exciting to watch. Oh, I like that idea. Mystic Munger says, I'd be fine with going back to V8s and KERS. Well, KERS... I mean, KERS was the first we saw of this sort of overtake mode. I mean, I suppose you could argue that what we've got now in overtake mode is an evolution of that in a lot of ways. Mystic Mungus Slungus, 134.7 by Charles was the fastest earlier today. Thank you, Mystic Mungus Slungus. So we're in the 133s already with Kimi Antonelli. Yeah, exactly, Gisette. They're still driving 200 miles an hour, aren't they? You know, they're still giving it the beans. Russell's gone fastest in Q1. So just under 8 minutes left. Mercedes taking their positions at the top. Audi, Hulkenberg and Bortoletto just a second off the pace behind the Mercedes. Hamilton's out on a lap now. This is Hamilton's fastest lap of the session, so I'm expecting him to improve. You can see he's also got some purple mini sectors in there. If you look at Hamilton, you look at the colours on your screen right now, you can see Hamilton had a couple of purple mini sectors. Hamilton could be on for a provisional pole here. Or a P1 time, I should say. It's not provisional pole yet. We're not in Q3. But Hamilton looks like this could be the fastest lap so far. Oh, really? Selvin says on board with Kimi doing 325 kph with a flat battery. No, that just goes to show that Mercedes power unit is rapid. Oh, Hamilton's gone P3. I thought Hamilton would be... So he's just 2.5 tenths off the Mercedes. Hamilton's gone P3 in Q1 on the soft tyre. Yeah, so Hamilton came out on the medium tyre and now he's gone back in and switched to soft. Guaranteeing that he gets through to Q2. He's always going to get through to Q3 today, the way that Ferrari's performing right now. Hulkenberg coming to the pits in his Audi. Hadjar currently faster than Verstappen. Both Hadjar and Verstappen out on the mediums. So the Gamecat said the sprint pole was 131.5. That's right, George Russell. Be interesting to see if they've improved. A 131.5 was a quick. It was a bloody good time. Gisette, I know. Gisette says Hamilton is always looking at the Mercedes car, trying to figure out what's going on. He is. Toto Wolff in an interview on Sky Sports a little earlier on said, yeah, he called him Sherlock Holmes. Said Hamilton, yeah, Sherlock Holmes, trying to find out what's going on. But it was nice, actually. Toto said he was texting Hamilton last night and said he was pleased to see Hamilton in the fight. And I think he genuinely is. I think they've got a close enough relationship for Toto want Hamilton to be fighting at the front. Leclerc's gone P1 with the fastest third sector of all. I mean, that'll be enough to get him to Q2. 3.5 tenths behind. I mean, Hamilton will get... really, all of those times will be fast enough to get into Q2. So in the elimination zone right now, you have got Albon, Sainz, Alonso, Bottas, Stroll and Perez. It's exactly who you think to be there. But Lindblad's down in P16, so he's a driver at risk. But of course, you'd expect the way the Williams are going and the Aston Martins and Cadillac, you'd expect those to be the three teams out in Q1. Behrman up to P7. Gasly up to P8. Finding some pace. Again, look at this. Gasly finding some pace in the Alpine to be in the top 10. Colapinto is half a second slower than Gasly. That's too much. That gap is too much between your teammate. If there's a couple of tenths in it, 2 or 3 tenths, fine. Yes, Emma, Forza effing Ferrari, exactly. Get excited if you're a Ferrari fan. Listen, we're only in Q1. I still expect the Mercedes to be on the front row. Leclerc, though, is brilliant in qualifying. He's always been strong in qualifying. Ferrari, at the moment, say their race pace is better than their qualifying pace. But maybe every team's working on it. Every team's trying to develop their car at a rapid rate. So 85 for you watching right now. If you are brand new to F1 Grandstand, you are very welcome. Get in the chat, say hello, tell us where you are watching from. Got any questions, get in the chat, and smash a like on the video as well if you're watching right now. It makes a big difference to the success of the channel. Very, very grateful. And if you want to subscribe, do so. It's not just watch-alongs. We have daily live news shows and loads of other content. Check out the channel and subscribe. Get involved. Be part of the community. But do get in the chat. Say hello. Best F1 community on the internet. I guarantee that. Shatan says Alonso is closer to the other midfield cars than Stroll is. Where's Alonso? 2.2. Stroll 3.2. So Alonso's a second faster than Stroll at the moment in the Aston Martin. Yeah, I mean, even though it doesn't look like it, I can still see the progression. Aston Martin have got a long, long way to go, but they were 3 to 4 seconds behind the lead teams, and now they're looking, a couple of seconds, just over 2 seconds for Alonso. So, yeah, there is improvement. Hey, Sema, I can see you. Who won the sprint? Lance Stroll. Lance Stroll won the sprint. I'm joking. George Russell. George Russell won the sprint, but both Ferraris were on the podium. Leclerc P2. Hamilton P3. It was a great race as well, Summer. It was exciting. We had Hamilton and Russell fighting it out, exchanging first place, second. They were passing each other multiple times in the first seven or 8 laps. It was good. It was the best sprint race I've watched from an excitement point of view. Max almost on the bubble. I know. Max down in P15. He is on his fastest lap, though. You can tell by the green mini sectors next to his name. This is Verstappen's quickest lap so far. Verstappen's actually got a purple mini sector in there, so that means Verstappen's gone fastest of all through those mini sectors. So Verstappen's gone P4, quicker than Hamilton. Hadjar's gone P8. I mean, you got to say, Red Bull looked a lot worse in sprint qualifying and in the sprint race. And for Max to put that Red Bull P4 in Q1, it means that those mechanics at Red Bull have done a lot of work on that car between sprint race, because don't forget it was in part firme conditions until after the sprint race. They must have been working on it, and they've actually improved the pace. They found a little bit of pace there. Same with Hadjar. He's also in the top 10. Colapinto! Colapinto, after me giving him a hard time. Look at that. He's gone P9. Bortoletto's gone P7. safely through. So in the elimination zone now, as you'd expect, it's the Williams of Sainz and Albon. Then we've got Aston Martin, Alonso, and Bottas in the Cadillac, Stroll in the Aston Martin, and Perez in the Cadillac. The big target for Aston Martin is, can they complete a full race distance? Yeah, Sema, not Woody. Yeah, he definitely, yeah, Woody. He had a big smile on his face as well. I don't think Sainz is going to get into Q2. I don't think so. Albon didn't manage it. Is Sainz going to improve to pass Lawson? No, both Williams out. Lawson just scraped through by the skin of his teeth. Lindblad through. So going through to Q2. Leclerc, Russell, Antonelli, Verstappen, Hamilton, Norris, Bortoleto, Piastri, Hadjar, Colapinto, Behrman, Gasly, Lindblad, Ocon, Hulkenberg, and Lawson all safely through to your Q2. Yeah, that's true. Give context here. Bottas is 0.6 faster than Stroll. Yeah, Bottas actually really fighting with Alonso. Perez really struggling with the Cadillac at the moment. 3.7 seconds behind P1. Bottas 2.2 seconds behind P1. Alonso 2 seconds behind P1. Yeah, Cadillac gaining ground from where they were. I mean, Cadillac could pass Aston Martin if they keep going where they're going. If they can find half a second a lap in each Grand Prix for the next 5 Grand Prix, they'll be at the front. Seems easy, doesn't it? I'm excited I'm excited to see what Cadillac can do. I mean, it's such early days. We cannot criticize them too much because they're still doing very well. Hang on, I'm still here. I'm still here. I mean, you can still hear me. I'm just... There we go. I'm back. So crazy that they were only separated by tenths. Literally a sliver. Yeah, I mean, look at Russell. Russell is literally a tenth, less than a tenth behind Leclerc. And if you look at the gap between Russell and Antonelli, it's... Wow, I mean, it's nothing, is it? It's 300ths. Verstappen, 2.5 tenths behind Leclerc. Hamilton, 3.5 tenths behind Leclerc. I mean, if you look at that, really, there's a second between first and 16th. Gosh, I mean, that's quite a lot of convergence already. Power cut. Are you in Tel Aviv? I've had a power... I don't have a power cut. Zikev! Late join. Just got power back in the house. Oh, you got... Oh, it wasn't me. Zikev got a bloody power cut. Oh, I see now. Catching up. Cornwall. Ah, I love Cornwall. Had one of the scariest flights I've ever had. I flew from London to Torquay. I didn't realise how small the plane was. Tiny little plane. It probably had 8 seats on it. And it was a storm. I'm coming into Torquay Airport. And the plane's getting blown around. And I'm like, oh, man. I thought I was going to die. I thought the plane was a goner. Everyone's dead quiet. I'm grabbing the person next to me who's coming down. The plane is bouncing around. And when we came down to land, I'm not joking, as you're coming onto the runway, there's this sideways wind, this shift, where it's like hailstorming. And the plane, I'm like, I thought I was going to die. But that was the last time I went to Torquay. But yeah, flew from London. So it was only a short flight, but the weather was awful. It was like in a November or something. Scariest flight I've ever had. And Gemma Queen in the chat says that's the laziest flight. Yeah, it was a short flight, but I had to get. It was business. Shaitan says, this is now showing more evidence that Stroll is probably the worst driver on the grid. Well, he's definitely shown he's a second behind it, a second off Alonso. Says he said, on the last storm, a friend of mine didn't have power for the week. Wow. I'd be knackered. No power, no streaming. Mystic Munger Slunger says, as far back as Checo is, he's still not 107%. He's only 104%. Caddy's doing fairly well for a new team. Exactly, Mystic. I agree with you on that. We've got to reserve judgment. We've got to give him time. Daryl says, I like listening to the show, but please stop chewing the cod. It's disgusting. Chewing the cod. Oh, are you talking about the chewing gum? No one likes chewing gum. I need it to keep me awake. Yeah, no more fish. Selmy says, that ain't shizzle when I went... that ain't shizzle. When I went to Jamaica, the pilot smashed the windscreen when landing in Kingston. No way! No way! Smashed windscreen. Do you ever see what was it called now? Air Crash Investigation. Used to be a TV show called Air Crash Investigation. And there was a pilot that got sucked out of the front windscreen of the aeroplane. And it took the air hostesses holding onto his legs. He's literally outside of the plane for ages, like, and they landed the plane, emergency landing, and the pilot that got sucked out of the window survived. True story. And they literally had an air hostess holding onto his legs. True story. I wasn't on that flight. So I'll get it. Ferrari 2-3 for the sprint. Yeah, that absolutely was a good. It was a great. Honestly, Zagev, it was a good race. The racing was exciting. You should see even if you only watch the first like 7 laps of a 19-lap race, but if you watch Hamilton fighting George Russell for P1, really exciting, and then the 2 Ferrari drivers fighting each other, some beautiful racing, clean, aggressive. No one was yielding, but also nobody was touching. It was, so a real masterclass in racecraft between Hamilton and Leclerc. So, Selvin. Lately, a lot of concern about operators saving money on aircraft maintenance. Don't tell me that. I'll never fly again. Scare me to death. So we are into Q2. "12 minutes of Q2 remaining." Selvin Hunter's banned from British Airways. I don't think I've got any airline bans. So everyone coming out now. Antonelli with a 132.9. Russell's going to put a faster lap in now, I think. Yes, he is, with a 132.5. Hamilton's gone fastest of all in the second sector. Leclerc's gone P2. Hamilton looks like he's on a good lap here. Hamilton goes P2. Slightly quicker than his teammate by about 800ths. According to Leclerc, it wasn't clean. Yeah, on the team radio. They didn't touch. It was good racing. I just think they were probably both, racing hard. I when I was watching it, I didn't think for 1 second. If anything, Leclerc pushed Hamilton wide. I just think it was good racing. But yeah, I did hear Leclerc's radio message where he wasn't too happy about the racing between him and Hamilton. It was good for us, though. Mystic Mungus Lunga says, looks like they're going to keep running Kimi in front of George for a tow. Do you think so? Yeah, I mean, that's some number 2 driver stuff, that, isn't it? Give your number 1 driver a tow to help him get pole. The Mercedes don't need it. They don't even need it. The Mercedes have got more power. Like, really, I think it would be a bit of a failure if Mercedes do not get pole. Even without a tow. What they should be doing is Hamilton should be giving Leclerc a tow and vice versa. They're the ones that need a tow to try and, cut down the 8/10 gap that Hamilton was talking about, which he believes that we have, that Ferrari have behind Mercedes in qualifying. So Shaitan says he's around 1.1 seconds off the fastest time in Q1. yeah, Kev. I've the same. The Merc need a bloody tow. No, the Ferrari give Hamilton or Leclerc a tow. That's what they should do. They should work as a team. So Verstappen's still P5, Behrman P6, and McLaren's not found any pace yet in Q2. Sainz is only 0.17 seconds off from getting into Q2. But that's enough, isn't it? That's enough, Shaitan. Lawson scraping through. I expect Lawson to improve, though. Yeah, the Gamecast's talking about the midfield battle. The midfield battle is real. Like... Has Lawson improved? P14. 1.2 seconds slower than Russell. I do feel the field is starting to converge with pace. In Melbourne, we saw bigger gaps between 1st and 16th. Now, between 1st and 16th is 1.4 seconds. That was bigger in Melbourne. So I do feel that the times are already starting to converge a little bit. Look, that's still a second is still a huge amount of time in Formula One. But I do feel that the midfield teams are converging to become closer. It's become more of a battle. Hulkenberg currently P11. Bortoletto P16. Well, that means they are at risk of elimination. So at the moment, Hulkenberg, Ocon, Colapinto, Lawson and Lindblad and Bortoletto all at risk of elimination from Q2. Peter Arnold says, if this is the starting positions, do we think Leclerc will play the team game or wait like a vulture like he did in the sprint? Yeah, he'll wait. He'll pick his time. He'll pick his moment for sure. Save his tyres. Let Hamilton and Russell fight it out at the front. Hamilton can then, burn up his tyres. Leclerc, Yeah, he's a clever driver, Leclerc. He doesn't need to be, you know, burning up his tyres if Hamilton's doing the work at the front fighting Russell. Exactly. I just saw Kev's comment. Behrman, P6, right behind Verstappen, stalking the Ferrari drivers. He's not that far off, is he? He's only about, what, nearly 3/10 slower than Leclerc. Bart, right. So the blue, that means that it's an in lap or an out lap from the pits. So where you see the blue colours of those mini sectors in sector 1, that means the cars come out of the pits. Where you see the blue mini sectors in sector 3, it means the car has come into the pits. So it's an in lap or an out lap. Where it's yellow, it means there's been no improvement. When it's green, it means it's the driver's personal best on those mini sectors. And when it's purple, it means that driver has gone fastest of all the drivers on those through those mini sectors. There's only 5 minutes left of Q2. You better come out if you're if you're an Audi driver now. You need to get out and try and get as many, and try and get a hot lap in. Because at the moment, no Audi's going through to Q3 at the moment. But again, everyone's waiting for the track evolution. The track does get quicker. So maybe everyone in the pits thinks they'll just come out for do one more hot lap to try and get a Q2 time in. Yeah, Max has moved up. He's in. What Red Bull have done with their cars between sprint race and qualifying is obviously improved them. I don't know what they've done. The mechanics have obviously been working. The engineers have been working since the cars came out apart firmly after the sprint race. But yeah, I don't know what they've done, but they have found some more performance out of the Red Bull. Leclerc on a fast lap now, though. He's fastest of all in sector 1. You can see next to Leclerc's name, you see all those green mini sectors. That means that's Leclerc's personal best through that sector. And you can see now he's put up some purple mini sectors in sector 2, which means fastest of all through those sectors. This is going to be a P1 time from Leclerc. Unless he messes up sector 3, this is going to be Leclerc going P1. I'm excited to see what Leclerc's time is. It's going to be quick. Some more purple. Leclerc goes P1 with a 1:32.4. Slightly faster than Russell. Decent lap that for the Ferrari. Definitely enough to get through to Q3. He can relax himself. Hamilton improves, though. He's less than a tenth behind Leclerc. Almost, and he's 400ths behind Russell. Antonelli, P4. Antonelli's on an outlap. He's looking to put in a. Antonelli's looking like he's on a quick first sector. McLaren still a little behind the pace at the moment, half a second off the top 2 teams. I don't think Antonelli's going to get pole this lap. There's a few yellows in there. He's a bit slower than Leclerc at the moment. Verstappen's on a better lap. As you can see, he's got some personal best in sector 1. Verstappen could improve here. Yeah, Max Verstappen could improve here. He's got some personal bests through sector 1. Verstappen, more personal best mini sectors through sector 2. And I think Antonelli's going to be on for a good lap here. He's going to improve. He goes pole, but he goes P1, Antonelli. Antonelli, P1 by 500ths. 500ths faster than Leclerc. Good lap from Antonelli. 1 minute left. Safely through to Q3, obviously. In the elimination zone right now, you've got Hulkenberg, Ocon, Colapinto, Lawson, Lindblad, Bortoletto. Can any of these drivers improve? Hadjar at risk at P10. Verstappen has gone up to P6, splitting the McLarens. Yellow flag. Bortoletto stopped at the final corner. Yellow flag. That means all those guys are going to get eliminated. Wow. Double yellow means that all of those guys in the elimination zone, which were on a hot lap at the end, all of their lap times deleted. So Gasly looks like he's made it through in the Alpine, P9. He goes 5th fastest. Wow. Pierre Gasly in the Alpine goes 5th fastest. Wow. Colapinto, 6/10 slower. No, 5/10 slower. Half a second slower than his teammate. Colapinto's going to have to find some pace. But Gasly, again, great performance going through to Q3. So it's looking like Hadjar has scraped through by the skin of his teeth in P10 in the Red Bull. Behrman, again, putting in a performance in the Haas through to Q3. And then you've obviously got all the McLarens. Ferrari. Oh, George Russell. George Russell says he's got an issue with his car. He said something's not right. Oh, Bortoletto is a mistake in the Audi. Final corner ruined everybody's final hot lap in Q2. Turn 16. Mistake, I think, from Bortoletto. I don't think that was mechanical. I think he took too much of the curb. Yeah, mistake. Yeah. Mistake from Bortoletto there. Costing other drivers. He will not be popular. He will not be popular in the grid. In the paddock. Praise the Lord. Sorry, not sorry. David Tringle. Yeah, Kimi. Kimi Antonelli's putting a good lap there, you know. We could see. I mean, Kimi Antonelli could outqualify George Russell. If there's a... Because, George, how much time left? We've got Q3 now. So, 12 minutes. So, when they get back on track, there'll be about 12 minutes, I think. But that's interesting that George Russell said he thinks he has got a problem with the car. Maybe that's George Russell just trying to give an excuse of why his teammate's faster than him. In case Kimi Antonelli outqualifies him. He's gone, oh, you heard me say in Q2 that I had an issue with the car. Something didn't feel right. Kimi Antonelli, I'm telling you, is going to keep George Russell honest. Well, they cleared the yellow flag now, David. So when we come back out to Q3, it'll just be a clear track. Yeah, I mean, Gasly, P6 in the Alpine. That's honestly, if he, I mean, look, if Gasly qualified on the third row in the Alpine, incredible. But what if anyone's been watching our content in 25? What have I been saying all the time? Pierre Gasly, the most underrated driver on the grid. I feel Pierre Gasly is becoming the complete Formula One driver. He needs, you know, he needs some recognition. I do believe he's one of the most underrated. Well, I think he is the most underrated drivers on the grid. And Nelson, I hate it when my son beats me at basketball too. What have I missed? Oh yeah, Antonelli and Russell. I get it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. So they think it might be George Russell's front wing. They're replacing it before Q3. So Russell blaming his front wing for the fact that Kimi Antonelli was quicker than him. I mean, it's true, actually. They're just talking about Franco Colapinto's time. Look at from Hadjar to Colapinto, separating three cars. Hadjar, Hulk, and Colapinto. Look at the difference. You are talking about thousandths. 3,000ths of a second between those three cars. 3,000ths. Wow. And that's the difference from Q3. But Pierre Gasly, though, you shouldn't really be comparing Colapinto to that. Colapinto it can only be compared to his teammate, Pierre Gasly. And Gasly was about half a second quicker than him. That's a long time. In the same car, that's a big gap. Steve Nielsen, Alpine Managing Director, heaping praise on Pierre Gasly. Yeah, Kev saying Russell blaming wrong type of air in the atmosphere for Kimi being faster. Yeah, the game cat says fair, but Gasly has a lot more experience. Exactly. But that's what it takes from a Formula One driver. You think about what Gasly's journey's been. You know, Toro Rosso, Racing Bulls, get dropped by Racing Bulls, looked like he was struggling to keep a seat. You know, then he's managed to stay in Formula One, ends up at Alpine. Alpine the car was terrible last year, but he did manage to score some points. Any of his teammates, Jack Doohan or Franco Colapinto, couldn't get close to him, really. They didn't score any points. And now Gasly, yeah, he's been in what? He's probably been in Formula One, 6 or 7 years? And his experience is vital. Oh, George Russell stopped out on track. I've got no. Russell stopped on track. No battery. Yellow flag. George Russell's car. Stranded. Really bad air. That's what Snelso said. Okay, he's got it restarted. Wow. Formula 123. You know what? Dunn will be in Alpine by summer break. Yeah, it could be. I think Alex Dunn's quick as well. What's going on with this Mercedes? We're watching him just Yeah, it's not working. Not changing gear. The real problems with that George Russell's Mercedes is that it's Kimi Antonelli. Who was it that said in the chat earlier on about Kimi Antonelli qualifying P1 today? I mean, Kimi Antonelli could, if he qualifies P1 and Russell can't get this car to put a lap time in, he'll be P10. We could see Kimi Antonelli with his best chance of his first Grand Prix victory. So Kimi Antonelli could break a record. He could be the youngest pole sitter ever. The first teenager ever to get a pole position. 10 minutes till we find out. This is actually getting quite exciting. Or will Ferrari have something to say about it? Can Leclerc and Hamilton find a little bit of extra pace? But Kimi Antonelli, he's obviously got... he's the fastest guy on track at the moment. Wow. Antonelli is half a second quicker than Hamilton through Sector 2. So 132.3. Okay. Leclerc's on a good lap, I think. Leclerc could go quicker here. No! 132.6. 3/10 slower than Antonelli. Wow. So we've got Antonelli P1, Leclerc P2, Hamilton P3, Norris P4. Waiting for times to be put on the board by, actually, from Norris and everyone else. Behrman just put a time up. It's not quick enough. That's 1.6 seconds off the pace, Behrman. You will not be holding on to P4 there, buddy. So George Russell's got his Mercedes back to the pits. Will he get out to do a hot lap? That's the question. He's only got about 9 minutes to make that happen. Less, 8.5 minutes. But it does sound like a major fault in that Mercedes. A gearbox fault, maybe. David Tringle says this is all playing out for Kimi. Absolutely. Door open for Antonelli. I mean, he'd be the youngest ever pole sitter. David, now I'm not tired anymore. Let's go, Kimi. Do it. I mean, Antonelli, imagine his nerves now. He's like, oh my God. Because he knows if he qualifies P1 and Russell can't put a time in and ends up qualifying P10, Antonelli has to be favourite for the race to get his first Grand Prix win. That would be a big weekend, a big moment for the generational talent that's Kimi Antonelli. Norris goes P2, but still 3/10 slower than Antonelli. Piastri goes P2, just under, what's that, half a tenth faster than Norris. The Ferraris are in the pits. They're not out on any hot laps. They'll be waiting, I think, now towards the end of Q3. Maybe they'll come out on some new rubber, some new soft tyres to see if they can just put a hot lap in. I think that's what their strategy is going to be. So it looks like they've got George Russell's car in the garage and they're going to turn it on and off again. When they say power cycle, switch it on and off again. Give it a reboot. See if that works. Tech support there for George Russell's Mercedes. Just turn it on and off again. He'll be all right. Send him out. Woody having a win. Oh, he will be, Sema. George Russell's not going to be happy about this. But the McLaren's showing a bit more pace. You know what? If the McLarens are only a couple of tenths, 2 or 3 tenths off Antonelli's pace. I think it'd be quite hard for Ferrari. Computer user, non-technical. Yeah. How many minutes are remaining? 6 minutes. 6 minutes to the end of Q3. 6 minutes. So they've got George's car started again. Shaitan says, will people say Mercedes are unbreakable now? I don't know. But like Mystic's right, George car is started up again, but can he cycle through the gears? That was an issue. Yeah, Peter Arnold. He wants the drama. He wants Kimi Antonelli to take George Russell to school and and to beat him. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the drama within the Mercedes garage if Kimi Antonelli starts being the #1 driver? I mean, they're going to have to get George Russell out there pretty smartish. Otherwise, he's going to be starting from P10. I expect all the cars will be out last 3 minutes. Probably get 2 good hot laps in. See where they end up. Behrman, Gasly, there's a little battle going on there. And Hadjar maybe to... Hadjar and Verstappen, look at their times. Look at Hadjar and Verstappen. Almost identical. 200ths between Verstappen and Hadjar. When's the last time we've seen a #2 Red Bull driver? When has there ever been a #2 Red Bull driver that close to Verstappen? I mean, that's all you can do. You can only compare them. The drivers driving equal machinery. And that must be where that machinery is really at. Both drivers within 200ths between each other. That must be the limit of what that Red Bull can do. Yeah, Perez is probably the last driver to get anywhere close to Verstappen. Yeah, they are coming out now. I said they'll be coming out around the 3 minute mark. There's 3 minutes 40 seconds left of Q3. This really is the business end of qualifying. This is where we're going to see hopefully everybody's best lap. And let's see how this plays out. Have the Ferrari got some more pace? Can they get on the front row? I would say yes. I would expect the Ferrari can. And Leclerc or Hamilton capable of it. Or is this going to be Antonelli's first pole? His provisional pole right now. So Cedric thinks both Ferraris will go up to P2 and P3. Oh, Toasty says Verstappen is Senna, Hadjar is Prost. They were very different drivers. Prost was more like mathematical. Prost was more like Niki Lauda, whereas Senna was more like all about the feel. He wasn't mathematical in his driving. I don't think Hadjar's mathematical either. I think Hadjar and Verstappen are very similar. Mathematical driver, I'd say more like... Probably George Russell's a bit more like Prost. But Prost was a brilliant driver, you know. Brilliant. What a brilliant driver Prost was. Fine. I just said it because he's French. Toti said, fair enough. Well, in that case, yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough, Toasty. Now we're Toasty says, George Russell. Now we're really insulting Prost. Yeah, Antonelli, Leclerc, Hamilton. I'd say that's a pretty good prediction, Cedric. But the McLarens have taken a step forward, it seems. Exactly, David. If Antonelli gets P1, I think Antonelli is favourite to win the race. And if George Russell starts P10, So we're at the business end now. 1 minute, 20 seconds left of Q3. Russell on an out lap. He will get to put a time in. Let's see if his car's fixed. But let's see these times now crossing the line. Who's going to be crossing the line first? It's going to be Antonelli. Everybody looks like they're improving. Look at all of those green sectors all over every driver on that data. Everyone's improving. Hamilton. So Kimi Antonelli has gone quicker. But don't look at Hamilton's times. He's got some greens, some purples. Leclerc goes P2. Hamilton goes P2. I knew he was on a good lap. You could tell from the sectors, from our data. Look at that. Great time. Hamilton, P2. Leclerc, P3. Hamilton, front row at the moment. Gasly up to P6. Faster than the Red Bulls. We've still got to hear from Verstappen, Behrman and Hadjar. Behrman stays P7 at the moment. Any improvement from Hadjar? Hadjar completing his lap now? No. Hadjar stays P8. Verstappen goes P7. George Russell, what's he got in the locker? Russell's the only guy that can upset this grid. George Russell, is he going to pull something out of the bag? He's gone fastest. He's got his personal best. Well, it's his first lap. Russell really trying to put in a pole lap here. Russell goes P2. Making it an all Mercedes front row. Oh, Hamilton, then Leclerc. That's what I predicted. I thought it was going to be Mercedes 1 and 2. Antonelli getting P1, Russell P2. I thought it'd be the other way around, actually. Hamilton P3, Leclerc P4. It's what I thought. Mercedes front row. Ferrari locking up the second row. McLaren locking up the third row. Gasly, special mention for him. P7 in the Alpine. Best of the rest for Gasly. What a result. Oh, trouble over at Red Bull. P8 and P9 for Hadjar. And Behrman again through to Q3 starting P10. Wow. Wow. I think Russell managed to wrestle that. He was wrestling that Mercedes to get that lap. Wow, McLaren are nowhere. I know, look, McLaren are still struggling with extracting the power from the power unit. Alpine doing a pretty decent job of that as well. I mean, they're struggling. All the customer teams are struggling to maximise the power from the power unit that Mercedes seem to manage to extract. But you've got to look at Alpine and Gasly as incredible drive for Gasly. P7. Exactly, and don't forget, look, that's the best you could hope for from the Ferraris. Second row of the grid, but they've also got the Ferrari starts. You got to factor that in. You could end up having Hamilton and Leclerc in front of both of those Mercedes by turn 1. We really could. So it makes for a very exciting start here in China. And Gisette says, look how much closer Ferrari is. Not 0.6. Yeah, exactly. Hamilton is just 3.5 tenths from P1. And only 1.5 tenths slower than Russell. Leclerc, again, 0.36 of a second behind P1. That's a lot closer than the 8 tenths that Hamilton says they are. So we're seeing improvements for Ferrari's qualification pace. We know Ferrari's got good race pace. It's shaping up for a good race at the front. David Tringle says, told you Kimi would do it. He's great. What did I win? You win our respect from the community. And Kimi Antonelli taking the record for the first ever teenager to get a pole position. First ever teenager to do it. The youngest ever person to achieve a pole position in Formula One. Well done, Kimi Antonelli. That's a nice accolade to have going into tomorrow. But it is shaping up for a great race, I think. You're not going to want to miss the start of this one, truthfully, because we're going to be back. Let me just check the race start time. So 6:30 tomorrow. So we're going to be back 6:30 a.m. UK time for the race. You do not want to miss the start of it. Yeah, Toasty, Vettel was older than Kimi Antonelli. Peter Arnold says, Max truth bomb incoming. If he does any interviews, if he speaks to anybody, yeah, Max Verstappen is not going to be happy about this. He's going to say, quite honestly, that the Red Bull is not fast enough. The power unit's not got enough power. Not quick enough. The car's not good enough through the corners. A lot of work to be done. And when you look at this start from Red Bull, it's one of the worst starts we've seen to a season. Jolin Palmer talking to Kimi Antonelli. Gisette says, when Toto has your back, boost your confidence. Yeah, when you got the big bad wolf with you, Gisette. Pretty much. Kimi Antonelli, super chuffed, super happy. I'm watching him on the television right now. Legend saying Ferrari, all the best. Sema says, Toto now has the excuse to boot Woody and get Max. Well, Kimi Antonelli is looking very quick. The Mercedes car looks good, though. Yeah, I mean, the Mercedes car looks good. So, yes, I will be back tomorrow morning for the race, 6:30 a.m. GMT. Make sure you tune in. I hope to see you all with us. We'll have all the data. You don't miss the start of this one. Do not do that. Thank you so much for all your super chats, all your support, and for staying with us and watching all of our streams today. And yeah, Gasly, special mention to him. Brilliant performance. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. I am going to get some shut-eye. And I'll see you all tomorrow morning, bright and early, 6:30. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Ta-ta.